book is so tiny. Look at my hand. Like, that's my hand. I have big hands, but damn. Why, hello. So today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of 2020. During the year of 2020, I was at home a lot, as many of us were with quarantine and COVID and all of that fun stuff. So I got a lot of reading done. I actually read 70 books, which is more than I have read in several years. And among these books, I have selected a few books that I felt were worthy of being called my favorite of 2020. The first book on this list has to be Little Women by Louisa Alcott. I have a history with Little Women that spans back to when I was probably about 5 years old. When I saw the 1994 movie adaptation, I love that movie so much. It is such a big part of my life. It always has been, it always will be. But when I saw that they were coming out with a new adaptation in 2019, I promised myself that I would finally read the book because I never have, and I was not let down. This book follows the March sisters in Civil War era Massachusetts, and the March family are really just the best family. They're just so giving, and while they used to be wealthy, they have fallen on hard times during the war, but they still give everything that they can to those in need, and it's like their goals. They are goals. They are goals. I really loved reading this book because, of course, it's a huge book. It's going to give you so much more than you could ever get out of both movies combined. And I loved reading about the sisters, particularly Jo March, because she is a character that is known for marching to the beat of her own drum, for not conforming to society's constricting rules for women during this time. She's easily one of my favorite characters in literature, and I loved reading about her adventures and misadventures. The next book on my list is The Last Wish by Sapowsky. Sapowsky, I finally said it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much for letting me know how freaking easy his name is to say. Sapowsky. And that I should have taken 2 minutes of my time to look it up months ago. I feel very stupid, but also very appreciative of you, so thank you for that. This book is the first book in a fantasy series that has about 8 books, I believe. And it's been around for a while, but I picked it up because I fell in love with the Netflix adaptation that came out last year. The story follows Geralt of Rivia, and he is a witcher who is a human that has been given like supernatural abilities so that he can fight evil creatures. And the story just follows him as he does that and meets new people and saves towns. And it's so good. It's so well written. Like, for this being a translation, it was so easy to read, and I just really enjoyed it. I can't wait to continue on with the series. I actually read this book in January of 2020, and I told myself I was going to continue on, but I didn't. So now I'm going to reread it before continuing on in 2021. I'm not sure when season 2 of the Netflix series comes out, but I'm assuming 2021, 2022. So I definitely have some time to catch up, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. The next book that I picked up is White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. This is the strangest book on this list, without a doubt. And this is how I would describe this book: literary horror. That's not something you hear often. It follows the story of a young woman who is living in this haunted house that generations of women in her family have owned for years and years. And this house talks to them. This story is told from the point of view of the house, of the young woman, of her ancestors, of her father, brother, girlfriend. It's very strange, and it's very lyrical, and it's very beautiful. And this house is obsessed with these women, and it makes them do horrible things to themselves and messes with their mental health. Not a happy story by any means, and it's not necessarily scary like how you would imagine it, but it's eerie, and it's unlike anything that I've ever read. And I need to read more Helen Oyeyemi like stat. So if you guys have any recommendations for more of her work, please let me know, because I don't own any of it, but I would gladly purchase more. The next book on this list is Ghost Summer by Tana Nareev Dewey. This is a short story collection, and every character in this book is Black, and it's written by a Black author. I was very happy to see that representation, which, I mean, obviously that's something we don't see enough, but we particularly do not see enough of it in horror. Many of the stories follow the aftermath of a pandemic, which reading in 2020 was terrifying for relatable reasons, but I did enjoy each of the stories. Like, I can't think of one story I didn't enjoy in this collection, and it was so well written. I don't want to compare Tana Nareev Dewey to another author, but I feel like I need to, because I feel like that's one of the things that makes me pick up an author. If they are compared to one of my favorite authors, I'm gonna pick them up, and I want her to get the recognition that she deserves. So I'm gonna say it right now. This woman is the female Stephen King, but I'm gonna go even one step further and say she is better than Stephen King. Like, she is all the good parts of Stephen King and none of the bad, and it's just like her writing is amazing, and I cannot wait to keep reading more of her. She's so good. She is so good. Like, seriously, please pick up Ghost Summer, because it was a game changer. The next book is a book that I have talked about a lot on my channel this year, and I'm not done because I'm going to talk about it here. It is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar. This is a young adult horror novel that follows a girl that moves to a new town, and pretty soon after arriving, there is a massacre at a party that she is attending, and it's just complete early 2000s slasher movie vibes. I've never read a book that I would say made me feel like I was watching a horror movie, or maybe, no, that's not completely true. I have not read many, but this one definitely did it, and it was really good. It was so well written, and I was turned off at first because I feel bad saying this. It's very judgy, but just hearing that it was young adult kind of turned me off. But when I started reading it, that instantly changed. I felt like this was an adult book written about teenagers. I know that I'm not a teenager, I'm not the target audience, but I do feel like the representation of teenagers in this book was really well done, and it seemed genuine to me. Also, this book did not hold back in terms of violence, and I'm gonna, give a little trigger warning there. This book is a lot more violent than I would expect from young adult fiction, and it all involves teenagers. So if you're not into that, not that I'm into that, but you know what I mean, you might want to pass on this one. I, however, loved it, and it will definitely be a book that I revisit in the future. The final book on this list is The Godsend by Bernard Taylor, and this is an adult horror novel that follows a family of a husband, a wife, and 4 of their children. And one day they are at home in their flat in London when a stranger appears on their doorstep, and she's pregnant, and she goes into labor while at their house and ends up abandoning her baby with this family. Now, this family is shocked, of course, but they love children, and over time they adopt the baby and love her and bring her up as their own, and everything seems really wonderful until it's not anymore, and unexplained horrible things begin to happen to their other children. That's not a spoiler. It's even written on the back that one of their children dies, and the father finally comes to the conclusion that all of these horrible events started happening when they adopted this young girl, and he has to face the fact that she is the one that has brought these tragedies down on their family. This book was really well written. It's like Evil Child 101. Like, if you've seen the movie The Good Son or Orphan, I definitely get those same vibes with this book, and it's really well done, and Bernard Taylor's writing is fantastic. It's very British. I don't really know how else to describe it, but it's also suspenseful and also really good, and I'm really looking forward to picking up more Bernard Taylor in 2021. In the comments below, I would love for you guys to let me know what your favorite books of 2020 were. I think I only named one 2020 release in this video, so the likelihood that you guys read any of these books probably is less. But if you did read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them, and if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. I'd also love to know what other books you read in 2020. Did you have like a backlist type of year like I did, or were you just all about the 2020 releases? Definitely let me know, because I would love to get chatting about it in the comments. All right guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one.